I go? You're live? Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. I am glad to be here in TedX IIU International. It's the first time it's held here, and it's really my pleasure to be here. I'll be talking about, it's all about individualism. We are all individuals, so it has to be about individuals, right? Because we are single human beings. All that matters is what we do at a given time in the right way. If we do our bits in our community, in our society, in our country, everything will work out fine because we are only together once we perform our duties as individuals. And we will also be looking at how we can create sustainable, smarter, and safer communities in a bottom-up way. If you look at what's happening in the world today, there are a lot of big companies, giants, individuals talking about smart cities. They try to create cities which are better, which are more sustainable. They continue to create cities in the middle of the oceans or in deserts, and they are so-called smart cities. But my question, and where I disagree, is until and unless people change, no smart city is good enough for us. We have to change our consumption patterns, our production patterns. We have to change as individuals to really reach out something better. Look at the energy crisis most of South Asia goes through. Why do we have this energy crisis? Because we do not behave all right. And then, there are these big companies, for example, IBM, they call it Smarter Planet. Cisco people call it connected plus smart plus connected communities. And they are all trying to do their bits. But we really differ. My perspective really differs because I believe in individuals' behavior. For me, it's all about behaviors. I've been doing projects that influence the behavioral change. Many times we have been told change comes from within, great words, but we have not been told as change comes from self-realization. Until and unless we realize where we are not going to change. Did you know that if we continue to consume the same way that we are consuming today, we would need 3 times the size of planet resources in 10 years. And that is not going to happen. So we have to change today. Many people believe we are already too late. So today I'll be sharing my story because it's all about reconstructing, because it's all about reconstructing yourself. And I thought I'd share my story, what I've been doing for the last 10 years or so. But what I've learned in these 10 years is we have to learn to co-create, we have to learn to coexist, we have to learn to work together. A great example of working together is, I was sitting in Milan, I had my birthday party, and there were 2 girls, one was from Iran and one was from India, and we were all sitting together. Somehow I left my laptop open and there was this poem written in Urdu. Now my Indian friend couldn't read it, and all of a sudden this Iranian girl walks by and she says, and she starts to read it because the script is similar, but she could not understand it. Now the Indian girl, she could understand Urdu. And together, they were able to understand what was written on that poem. So this is a great example of working together. And this happened by mistake. But we can make a difference if we work together. So, but how do we bring about a change, the big change everybody talks about? What is this change? How can we bring the change? I'll discuss some of the important things there. For example, we have to understand the local context. We have to understand the local issues. Only then we can make a real difference. We have to start to work as designers. How does a designer work? A designer takes a step back when he's given a problem to solve and understands why is he doing what he's doing. Unlike an engineer, if you ask, I need a building, and they'll construct you the building or whatever you want. We designers take a step back and try to understand what is that you really need, and we then move 2 steps forward. We have to bring the focus back to people. We have to bring the focus back to you, to the individuals. That's how we will make a difference. I've been traveling quite a bit, and again, because we are talking about how can we bring a change and how we can reconstruct ourselves, I'll share my journey with you. I started my journey really to discover myself, to learn who I was and who I am. And, I traveled from Pakistan to Australia, to Italy, to Norway, to Saudi Arabia. I learned what is democracy, what is true democracy, what is democracy with the king, what is democracy with the queen, and so on and so forth. And my journey continued, and I had always been very passionate about coming back to Asia. But I haven't quite figured it out yet. I'm still learning. But what I have learned is the importance of this region, because more than half the world population today lives in Asia. Asia is important. We understand that. I have learned the importance of working together. I have learned how to co-create things with people like you. I have learned the importance of youth. So that's what I have learned, and that's what I try to build on. Throughout my journey, I learned quite a few things here and there, and I would be sharing one of the projects that I did in Massachusetts Institute of Technology, where I was a Roberta Roca Fellow. It's a scholarship, and I was also IBM PhD Fellow at that time. And we did this project called Trash Track. Now, we track garbage literally. Whatever you threw away, we were tracking it. Have you ever imagined, where does your trash go? Have you ever imagined who owns your trash? I'll look into that in a bit. A voice that it could talk back to you once you throw it away, so it would not be out of sight, it would not be out of mind. So now imagine your coffee cup has a voice. You throw it away, one day later it says, "Hey, I'm here." 2 days later it says, "Hey, I'm still here." A week later it starts to move again and says, "Hey, I'm still here." And it stays in the system forever. And trust me, when we did this project, we learned that it keeps on moving for months from one part of the world to the other. Now it would talk to you again a year later and say, "Hey, I'm still here. You threw me that day." Now, take another scenario. You consume a coffee cup every day, minimum. Now you have a coffee cup every day. Now all these coffee cups that you throw away would continue to talk to you for the rest of your life, as long as they're in the system. So that, I believe, influences our behavioral change, because you create a new connection between you and your trash objects. So when we were tracking this project, when we were doing this project in Seattle, that's where our major deployment was, we tagged really lots of stuff, starting from diapers to computers to e-waste. We all know how big of a problem that is. And you could tag anything from your boyfriend to girlfriend or whoever you wanted to. And the results were really enormous. Later, this project got really big, and we exhibited this in a Seattle Public Library, and it was also in Architecture League of New York. And we were funded by one of the biggest space management companies in the US. And it's still going on. There are many things which came out of this project. So, my journey continued. I'm the guy who is never satisfied. I've always left a job which was paying me well. I don't earn too much money anymore. But I have learned through my experiences. Another experience I wanted to share was, when I went to Australia, my professor, John Giro, he's really the father of what he did, situated design computing. He said to me, "Tinauli, before we can learn something new, there's a lot of unlearning to do. Because we as a region, we inherit being very opinionated about stuff. We are very aggressive when it comes to, if I ask you, how does that look, you will say, oh, it's bad, not good color. Even though you know nothing about it. That is something we inherit in this region. But again, my journey's learnings were social entrepreneurship, youth, co-creation, South Asia, Asia, and bottom-up. So that's what I had been trying to do, and that's why we did the Trash Track project. And what I've been trying to do is, I have always been coming back to this region one way or the other. And I had been part of some workshops such as South Asian Youth Conference and recently International Alumni Youth Conference. Some of you are present here who are part of that. And what I try to do there in these conferences is I conduct some innovation camps. I try to harvest the energy of the youth. I try to build teams. I try to work together with them because youth are very important. You are very important. We are all important. And we have to all do our bits. And in the process, we make some friends, some good friends. We make friends in the local community. We make friends who come for conferences. This is a slide shared by Divya, one of the participants of SACI conference, South Asian Youth Conference. And I asked them, what does represent your conference the best? And this is what she sent to me. Promoting peace, transcending borders, communication, working together. So these are the kind of things we put emphasis on. Again, there's a lot of community work involved in this. And imagine there were these Indian people and people from Bangladesh and people from Maldives and Afghanistan cleaning our streets in Apara or in Karachi company. That was really interesting. Now, what I'm trying to do now is another project I wanted to finish my talk with. It's something called, so from Norway, I was also in Norway, I don't know if I mentioned that. So I was working with a company called Simula Research Lab, and from there I sort of spinned out and formed my company called DJED. Now DJED is based on Egyptian mythology of stability. We all know how sustainable Egyptians were. They survived for centuries without anything else. It's true they were covered by the desert, but still we have a lot to learn from them. So I have named my company based on their philosophy. It's called DJED now. And one of the first projects that we are doing here is called Fori Mazdoori. Now, how many of you have a problem when they want to hire a maid or a servant or a labor worker? Raise your hands. It's practically impossible to find a reasonable worker when you need one. And did you know how many labor worker force we have in Pakistan, for example? It's more than 55 billion people who are labor workers in this country. So we are doing this project because we believe we will change the lives of these 55 billion people and more all across South Asia and the developing world. This is called Fori Mazdoori, at least in Pakistan, and I'll share what it's going to do is really, it's kind of a modern Yellow Pages thing. You as people who potentially hire labor workers, and labor workers who are not so well educated, but they have the ability to use their cell phone, hear a call, send a small message. And you are technology literate people who know how to use the smartphone, who know how to use social media, who can do anything on your phones. Now imagine if I give you an app on your phone which connects you to all the people out there who are the labor workers. It will change how you are connected. And this change will really make a lot of difference. I'll show you how it's going to work, what's the way it's going to work. It would be something like this screen. You'll go there and you'll say, hey, I'm looking for some kind of labor. You say an electrician, you click on the electrician, you find all the electricians who are in your neighborhood or in the vicinity, in your area, registered. You click one of them and it shows your profile like it does on social media, right? How hard it is to find me on social media. If you know my name, you can. If you know his name, you can. All you need is a name to do this. Right now, all you need is what you are looking for. You click on that and you'll get some details and ratings and everything on social media. We'll make pseudo profiles for these labor workers who wouldn't really know they have pseudo profiles, but they would be reachable to you. And then you click hire labor. It will make the call for you and you will be already connected. Right? So this is the app we are working on right now. And you're all very welcome to join us. One of my slides is missing. But I would finish on this note that, actually on two notes, that together we can change the world. And please join me and work with us. And I promise we'll change the world together. Thank you very much.